Hi, this is Carrie at Wooing Nature, and this is, I don't know, like I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna do the videos or if I'm just gonna stop this altogether. Just really go in and go dormant during this time because um, there seems to be a lot of miscommunication and confusion. I think that a lot of people are remedying this by kind of staying inside. Somebody has said that there was going to be a second COVID, and people have been, I don't know, like washing their hands more or something to that effect. But in reality, the second COVID is people are opting to stay in and to stay to themselves and not go out. Like we've already had the experience of a global pandemic where we isolated ourselves, and for some of us the isolation worked very well, meaning that we came out of the isolation feeling um, much more focused, understanding the focus and understanding what the focus was, the intent of the focus when we had it. Some people never did receive that. Some people spent their COVID time trying to figure out how they were going to spend their COVID money and buying shit from Amazon and stuff like that. But in reality, you were given the time to really understand what was coming next for you, for your family, and everything else. So, like, people kind of got caught up in the details of COVID, but they didn't really assess what happened to them after COVID. Okay, they didn't think about that. COVID was a time where you were supposed to sit down, clear, have a clear understanding. And if you did, if you remember what was going on, because some people remember and some people don't. I noticed that. Some people actually remember what they came away with coming out of COVID. Some people remembered it when they first came out, but then after they got out, then they forgot it again. And that's kind of like the paradigm, the human paradigm, the human dynamic. And that's all fine, well, and good. Like God understands that we are human beings and that we are creatures of habit, and like He made us, so He knows exactly kind of like what we're doing and why we're doing it. He gets that part. We have to get it. We have to understand our purpose down here. We have to understand what it is that we've been assigned to do. We have to understand our purpose and our principles. We have to understand what's important to us as individuals and also to us collectively. There's like so many things. And because they are all these things, we have to sort through them, and that takes a lot of time. That takes time, and it takes patience. And we have to remember that we're in this for the long haul. When you're talking about the 5D, we're talking about the long haul. And the long haul is not the short term. It's like you're thinking hundreds of years into the future. People talk about the systemic problems that exist in society, the systematic oppression of people, marginalized groups of people, whether they be women or gay or black or Hispanic or whatever the margin is. There's also a margin for people who are handicapped, disabled. When we went through the whole DEI drama, that's really what we lost, because people kind of focus on DEI in terms of it being about race, but there were so many other people that were being supported. And this is something that we in this country called the United States of America have held up to the rest of the world as a core value within our system, and it really isn't a core value in this system. Okay? We put it out there, for example, that democracy and everyone's voices being heard, and this idea of how we utilize the free market and everybody has a chance and anybody can jump in, and that is systematically restrained. It is on purpose, and that can be disheartening. People become disgruntled. And so the 5D, for those of you who understand it, and I'm not, like, these are words that we wrap around a concept usually. So when people say the 5D, it's like, oh, what is this? The 5D, the 5D, the 5D, what does that mean? What it means is that not all of us, but there has been a collective effort on the part of the people, talk about democracy, to raise the vibration up in this world so that we can live more harmoniously as a group, right? So that there's more harmony amongst us, so that we don't have these huge disparities between the haves and the have-nots, and then the power is not resting in the hands of the elite. And these are the kind of things that we don't want. It's not peaceful. People are struggling. People are trying to live. They're trying to feed their families. And then we find out that we're basically pawns being used in a game that makes everybody else, a small group of people, very, very extremely wealthy. It's okay if a small group of people are extremely wealthy if they then have the heart to share the wealth with those who may not have it. So this is a systematic issue that is underlying and undergirding everything that you are experiencing. And right now, people in the United States are very afraid because they think that they're getting ready to start having the experiences that people in other parts of the world who did not have the access that the United States had, that they're going to start living like them, huge discrimination. And it's a possibility. Not as a possibility, it is happening. It's not a possibility, it's a probability. And the probability is that over time, you can keep doing something and keep going in one direction and stray off the course a little bit at a time over time. And if you stray off the course, if you have parallel lines and it strays off course just a little bit, over time, that gap becomes wider and wider and wider. And at a certain point, and we all know this from the language of the news, is that it becomes a bubble. It's going to pop eventually. Everything, if it expands, the next thing is to contract. And so the contractions that are happening, the births and the contractions that come with a birth, are there to push something new into the forefront or into the into the framework or into the frame. So for those of you who have been praying for peace, walking for peace, meditating for peace, all of those people who have attempted to embody the thinking and the principles of oneness and fairness and that which is universally just, have done their work. And that's why we have the 5D. That's why we are able to operate in the 5D in mass now, as opposed to it just being a few people who understood this. So all of your woo-woo people are now, you're a part of a lot of you who were not with the woo-woo people are now collectively woo-woo-y, which is cool. This is all good. But we have to understand that this process of changing the systematic ideologies that exist in our individual stations, in our individual countries, in our individual places, we are addressing it and we have to act upon it. You have to act upon it without questioning and without fear and with confidence. Okay? Without questioning, without fear, and with confidence. And if you are just arriving on the 5D scene, then the practice would be to practice that in small ways, right? So in very small ways, make decisions that you feel confident making. If you're not confident, if you can't make a decision with confidence and without doubting and without fear, then don't make the decision. Wait until you can make a decision with confidence, without doubt or fear, and carry on that way, but do it incrementally, do it small. Don't try to do anything major or big, because it's not going to take it right now. You know, the rest of the world does not quite have the capacity to embrace this kind of thinking, but because there is a good majority, then you can actually begin to make some significant differences, and that's what we're looking for now. That's what we're looking for now. So that said, I am I am making my best effort to hear, right? And to do the same thing that I just said. Make decisions with confidence, make decisions without doubt or fear. And knowing that every single little decision that I do in that way is leading to the collective, the ability of the collective to make a collective confident decision when we say no. Because that's really all it is saying no. And setting your boundary and sticking to it. Setting that as a boundary and sticking to it. So for those of you who are about that life, stand on what you know, stand on your principle, stand on your purpose. Anybody who is operating in the 5D knows themselves and knows their full capabilities. So if somebody is claiming to be in the 5D, then they still talking about they don't know. They either trying to lie to you, they trying to fake you out, or they're fake themselves. Okay? One or the other. Either they still hot, they're putting on a mask to see where how you're thinking, or they themselves are really not ready for this, and they're faking. They're fake. It's going to be very, very important for those of us operating in the 5D to be able to discern this, and you will have the opportunity to discern because it can get pretty tricky out here. It's a lot of people that know how to talk a good game. It's a lot of people who have been Googling everything. It's a lot of people on chat and Claude and Gemini and everything else, Googling or asking about things and getting information from the World Wide Web, because that's what it is. It's from the World Wide Web. It is not the Akashic records that people like to think it is. It's a mimic of that. It's an aspect of it. It's a part of it. But the Akashic records is not AI, people. So people that are talking about AI is like the Akashic records. No, AI is a jot and a tittle of the Akashic records. AI is only the data and the information that has been collected over the last, I don't know, 50 years or more. 50 years ain't shit. Excuse my language. 50 years is nothing. Anybody who's 50 years old knows 50 years ain't nothing. This is just, and then 100 years really ain't nothing either. You know, we're talking about millennium standards. We're talking about 1,000-year increments. So if you're not able to retrofit your mind into the next millennium, then you're also not 5D material. Sorry, truth. There it is. That's how your thinking has to be. That's what you have to understand. And then you have to understand what the construct is for this millennium. This millennium, the construct is the feminine. The masculine construct was the last millennium. If you take a look at the year 1000 to the year 1999 and you look at the history that exists within that time frame, it will become very evident to you that Mars was in control. Okay? This is not this phase. This is not this phase. And so if you don't have a full understanding of that, if that's not, you know, if you're still kind of searching that out, don't search it on Google. Don't do it that way. You need to find people who actually know. And those people are out there, but they're probably not on Facebook. They're out there, but they're probably not on Instagram. And if they're on Instagram, they certainly aren't moving like themselves on Instagram because they know better. They know better. So find you a real one. And if you can find a real one, then before you decide they're a real one, spend a lot of time. Spend a lot of time watching, listening, paying attention. The things that they repeat are the things that are important to them. When people are talking to you, the things that they say over and over and over again, or the stories that they keep repeating, or the sentiments that they keep repeating, or the words that they keep repeating, that's really what you got to be careful of.